There's a lot of things that I like to do, but late shows really isn't one of them, to be perfectly honest with you. But I find myself in a situation because, man, I've been troubleshooting all day. I mean, I came out here and recorded a whole show on Saturday, and could nobody who may have tuned into the live, damn it, man, just dropped my phone, tell me, hey, man, you coming in all pixelated. I was sounding like a darn robot. And I thought I done recorded like, oh yeah, I'm cooking, baby, I'm cooking. Hit him with the horns, hit him with the horns. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here thinking. And then when I post it and I'm getting ready to post wait, that's disgusting. The 6 picks. I'm just sitting there thinking, you know what I'm saying?
Hold up, the baby. Hold up, the baby.
Because what? No words coming out. But we're fixed. We're good. You know what? Let me just double check to make sure we're like actually good. Because I would really hate to be doing this all over again. I mean, it is so demoralizing. Like, I don't think y'all understand like how much of I want like an outer body experience it is when I record these pods. Like, I go into this different place, right? I get super loud. I get super like passionate and stuff, right? And when I go to that place, man, to go through it and it not work, oh man, it hurts. Let's see. Oh yeah, there we go. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're good. The audio is working. All right, man. So I saw a crazy post just a second ago talking about how like a teacher in DC had her kids reenacting the Holocaust. Like, hey man, I haven't read much into it yet. I don't really know where that teacher was going, but that's not the right answer. Okay, having your kids reenact the Holocaust is a quick way to get fired. But if that's what you want to do, if you don't want to teach anymore, then go ahead and do that. But let's get into our first topic for today, man. Being right is better than being first. And I was busy traveling, didn't really have time to give y'all my juicy Smollett, you know what I'm saying? My juicy Smollett recap. And for one, I saw this crazy, just wow post on the gram saying, thanks, Dave Chappelle, for giving us Juicy Smollett. Hey, Big Baby said it first. He said it a long time ago. And you just didn't hear him like many other people. Subscribe, rate, review, tune in, share, do all of that stuff, man. Just do what you can to make people listen to me more. Honestly, that's what we want to do. We want more people to listen to me because I want more. I don't care if y'all want more people to listen to me. I want more people to listen to me because I like what I'm doing, and I wish I could have more people hear what I'm doing. You see behind me, we got a little scenery going on now. Got a few little decorations on the wall. I've had them for months. I just never put them up because it's not really my thing. But we'll see how it goes. Anyways, first topic. It's better to be right. Excuse me. It's better being right than being first. So often we just want to be the first person to have an opinion on something. We want to be the first person who says something. We want to get out there and get ahead of facts, honestly. And I look at the juicy Smollett. I look at the Meg and Tory cases, right? And everybody had strong opinions when they first happened. And if I remember correctly, my approach was, let's just wait on it. And then, more and more information comes out and we figure out that, yeah, maybe we fell on the wrong side of the hill. And hey, if that's the hill you want to take and that's the hill you want to die on, man, you go for it. And unfortunately, in both situations, Juicy, a situation that has already been played out in court, is that you can't always believe victims. Yeah, you can't always believe victims. Just because somebody claims to be a victim does not mean that they're actually a victim, and it does not mean that their intentions are pure. Now, I'm not going to come here and try to set back Me Too. I'm not going to try to sit back whistleblowing 15, 20 years by saying all victims are lying. No, all victims aren't lying, but all alleged victims aren't true victims. See, you have to believe in the victim, not the alleged victim. But how do you know that someone's a victim, if someone's a victim or an alleged victim? You don't. You don't until you do. But when you don't know, you shouldn't have strong opinions until you do. Now, our society, especially on the male side of the house, right, has defended men, especially white men, to a place that we almost want to overbelieve victims who are not of that demographic just because these people have gone through so much stuff, excuse me. And in many cases, we should. But if you weren't there, you should be very slow to have a strong opinion on something, because guess what might happen? You might get juiced. You know what I'm saying? No, OJ, you might get juiced, Smollett style, because you've fallen on the, oh my God, these people are racist. They put a noose around his neck that he wore into the precinct, if I remember correctly. They're homophobic, anti-LGBTQ plus community. And lo and behold, nah, man, he's just using the backs of marginalized people to build his brand and grow some clout, right? Isn't that crazy? That somebody, you know, and that type of human being is much worse to me than the Darren Oppressor. If you are, quote unquote, trying to exploit oppression and exploit coming from a marginalized community in order to grow your own personal self, you are a sick, disgusting human being. And if there's anyone to cancel, you cancel those types of human beings, because it's like you do anything for clout, right? Ain't that what Offset said? Play clout by Offset. I'm not even gonna sneak it in here on y'all, but it's just think about that. Like, somebody would really go to these links for what? What's the end state, man? I don't like the way the light is hitting. I need a little bit more light on it. Oh, we don't need it. No, come on. Yeah, like come on. I'm trying to find the right words without just using disgusting words, but
they do anything for clout.
Offset know the right words. He doesn't work.
Do anything for clout.
And I take that, and let me transition into the Meg Thee Stallion piece, right? Meg Thee Stallion versus Tory Lanez. You know what? That is finally playing out in court. And when that first happened, when I said I don't believe anybody, when y'all said believe black women, why? Because they're black women? Or do we have to believe like a credible source? Or do we have to believe a story that seems to make sense? Or can we say, hey, I don't know what to believe, so I'm going to shut up until there's more information that comes out? Guess what? More information is coming out. And lo and behold, what we may have believed, again, it hasn't totally played out, but what some of us started off believing doesn't seem like the truth as it happened. And that's okay. It's okay to be wrong, but here's what I need you to do. I need you to be just as loud wrong as you are when you're right.
Hold up, big baby. Hold up, big baby.
I need you to be just as loud when you're wrong as you are when you think you're right, okay? So when you figure out that you're wrong, and you've been burying the media, or you've been burying black men, or you've been burying white people, or you've been burying Tory Lanez, you've been burying whoever attacked Juicy Smollett. I need you to be just as loud when you get the truth, right? Because if you're not, here's what you've done. You set victims back, true victims back 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Because when you've become a victim of an alleged victim, right? A false allegation, it jades you. It changes the way you think. It makes you go, it sounds good, but I'm going to hold off on judgment because I don't know. And I absolutely hate having to come in here and position myself as a anti-black woman, black man, because I'm not. But when y'all told me to believe black women just because they're black women, or believe all women, or not believing all of anything, I'm not believing black. Man, come here, look, bro. I've been lied to by people who look any type of way. Why would you think that I would accept information that I don't know to be true, and I can't validate it? I can't verify it, and it doesn't make sense to me. So let's look at the Meg and Tory thing, right? He allegedly shot her in a very, 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 very rich neighborhood where there are cameras everywhere. No videos came out. She was kicked out of the party for being a little too drunk, acting out a little bit. And I say that to say that I don't know if y'all have ever gotten too drunk before, but I've definitely done it. And if you wanted me to retell a story from the night before when I got a little bit too drunk, especially if I got asked to leave a venue, how credible am I? What do I actually remember? What do I actually know? Not much, but we're going to take this human being's word at face value without properly contextualizing it. You look at, okay, he got arrested for felony possession of a firearm, not attempted murder, and he was allowed to leave for about $35,000 bail. No video came out. We didn't check him or his body for gun residue, or did we check it and not find? You know what I mean? There's just so many different things that came from this story that just made me skeptical. Now, I want to believe all alleged victims, but I can only truly believe the victims now, the true victims. And the other side of this, our justice system has failed so many true victims so many times that you want to go, well, you can't just rely on the justice system. No, you can't. But you can't also rely on liars. Now, Juicy has been proven to be a liar in court. Megan Thee Stallion, I'm not calling her a liar, but I'm skeptical. I'm skeptical because, hell, maybe she misremembered it. I don't know. But I'm just going to wait and be patient. That's what I'm going to tell y'all to do, to wait and be patient. But the problem is that y'all are fans. You're fans. And when you are a fan is short for fanatic, right? And I think we need to get away from calling fans, and we need to call them what they are. We need to call them fanatics. Because a fan is what you grab in church when you hot, right? The fan is what you turn on when you're hot. The fan is that thing you talk into, you be like, you know what I'm saying? When you're a little kid. But a fanatic is a crazy human being who will believe anything from somebody just because they like that person. They don't care about the facts. They don't care about the context. They ride for somebody who they don't even know. Somebody who wouldn't even be there without them, because guess what? You pay their bills. And a lot of fans, I think they forget that part of it. Like, oh, this person who I'm bigging up, they ain't nothing without me. You don't freaking say, right? And it's so wild that you see these fans act this way because they defend their celebrities, they defend their teams, and they will just go to the ends of the earth, man. Like, I've started listening to the Paul Feinbaum show. I freaking love Paul Feinbaum, let me tell you. And on the Paul Feinbaum show, he takes calls. And when you hear these fans come on here like, fire Dan Mullen. I mean, you know, Clemson's having a down year. We might need to get rid of old Dabo. What? The fans are so damn crazy that they don't properly, they just can't properly frame things, man. And I hate it. I absolutely hate it for them because they deserve better. You deserve to have a more clear mind. You deserve to be a bit more objective on the things that you speak on. You deserve to not sound stupid defending somebody who could care less about you, as long as you're spending money on them to sponsor their lifestyle. Yeah, that's what happens. So for those of you who have strong opinions on Juicy because you're a fan, like, oh, Black Lives Matter girl said, we don't believe the court proceedings. Man, shut up. We don't believe you. You need more people. Or you have people who are strongly defending Meg or strongly defending Tory, but they weren't there. Hey, man, hey, both sides, y'all shut up. Y'all don't know anything. And a lot of times, you know, I try to craft these shows in a way to leave you with something, to take a side. But it's so hard to take a side because what ends up happening is everybody takes one side or the other, and they lose nuance, right? They lose the sense of reality of what's actually going on. And to continue down that road of fandom and losing a sense of reality. Yeah, talk about everything. I talk about everything. Oh, yeah. Travis Hunter. Some say the number 1 player in the country. Some say the number 2 high school recruit in the country. He said, FSU, JU, I'm yours. And I'm not mad at him at all. I'm not mad at him one bit because he did what he wanted to do. He got a lucrative NIL deal, too. Let's not get twisted. It's reported he's getting $1.5 million for an NIL deal, so he's already rich. So if he don't make the league, he's already rich. But it seems like there's a group of people who are hot and bothered about what Mr. Hunter chose to do. For one, I'd say, hey, it's his life, not yours. Get the hell over it. He can do whatever he wants. And if you don't like his life decisions, I'll tell you, you make the best life decisions for you and yourself and your life that nobody actually talks about or really cares about outside of your immediate family. And I mean by, I shouldn't even say immediate family, your parents and your significant other. No one else cares. And you make better decisions if you think his decision was bad, okay? But if you can look at it and say, hey, man, that young man made a decision. He decided to be a trailblazer, to be the highest rated HBCU player in history, to commit to an HBCU, sign with an HBCU, man, let him be that. Let him say that, hey, I want to go play for Coach Prime. I want to go play for Deion Sanders. I want to be the best cornerback who's ever played the game. And who can teach me better than the best cornerback to ever play the game? And not only can he teach me how to play the game on the field, he can teach me how to play the game off the field. Why? Because he played it. He made mistakes. He did some good stuff, but he also made mistakes. Guess what? He brought Brittany Renner in. Apparently, Mr. Hunter was there the weekend. Brittany Renner came and spoke to the team. And maybe that conversation, or not even the conversation that Brittany Renner had with them, is the fact that he could get somebody like that, a social media influencer, a baddie, somebody, man, look here, Pete. Let me stop. But I ain't knocking PJ Washington for fighting without gloves. You know what I'm saying? Bare fist fight. I'm not mad at him. Sometimes you fight bare fist, you bust your knuckles, and your blood gets on them. But maybe because Coach Prime can do that, because Deion Sanders can do that, maybe that appealed to that young man. He was like, oh shit, man, he really gonna put me on game. Mike Norvell can't put him on game. I've not looked at the FSU coaching staff, but I highly doubt that they have a coach on their staff that can put a young man on game like Prime can put a young man on game. Because why? Prime was that guy. He was well prepared, a stud athlete, and a celebrity. He is a celebrity. I mean, I'm calling him Coach Prime. Why? Because his nickname was Prime Time. Why? Because everybody's watching. You want your show, you want to play at prime time, because that means everybody's watching. That's what we call this man. But y'all mad. I don't even know who more mad. I don't know if it's the Florida State fans. I don't know if it's the old guard of the NCAA, like your Dabo Sweeneys. Dabo getting some business today, though. Pause. Or is it just people on the internet, man? I saw an interesting post by somebody I know yesterday who was kind of speaking to this, and I tapped the comments. I did, and I'm not even talking about this on the pod to try to create any type of stir, any type of none of that stuff. But I thought it was an interesting. Excuse me. I thought it was a perspective that gave me ammunition to have this conversation on the podcast. Okay, I'm not gonna call it totally interesting, right? So Jackson State gets boat raced by South Carolina State. Jackson State was 11-1, 12-1, and South Carolina State was 7-5. And pretty much the point of the post was like, "This is where you really want to go?" Like, they just got dog walked by a not so good team, and you could go to a blue chip program and play against the best competition that the team you're going to is not going to be playing against. Are you sure that this is what you want to do? Because based on statistics, right, the organization that you turned down and the other organizations that you turned down, the other schools that you turned down, have a better track record of creating professional athletes. Yes, they do, because they've been doing it for a lot longer. They're operating at a higher level. They have more resources. That's the surface answer, right? But this is not a surface discussion. It's nuanced. It's super nuanced, right? Because it's easy, it's convenient to call out Jackson State after getting dog walked by South Carolina State. Guess what? Tom Brady just got shut out yesterday for the first time at home in his entire career. He got shut out yesterday for the first time since 2006 when he played against Nick Saban, okay? Teams have bad games. Good players have bad games. It's part of playing sports. That's why we play the game. That's why the gambling lines, the gambling projections, the simulations, you know what I mean? A mad simulation is not the season, because you have to play the game on the field. Now, he's not going to be playing against top-end competition, but he's going to be developed in a way that's different. He's going to be mentored in a way that's different. And honestly, when you're good, you're good. If you can, if you're good, you can dominate bums. You can dominate studs. That's what it means to be good. Because when you're great, when you're the best of the best, the cream rises to the top. But the competition, the other team is not your competition. Your competition is yourself. So when you're competing against yourself, right? And you're competing to be the best you that you can be. It don't matter who lines up across from you, because you're going to execute to your standard in order to appeal to yourself. But so often as a society, we get so caught up with keeping up with the Joneses, right? We get so caught up with competing with other people that we forget to compete with ourselves. And if you're competing with other people, no matter how great they are, no matter how much better than you they are, you will always sell yourself short. Because once you pass them, you go, oh, I've made it. But where's your ceiling? You know what I mean? Where could you actually be? You might just be on the second or third floor of the house. And y'all got an attic up there that you didn't even know the attic was up there. You didn't even pull it down, creep up in there to see. Why? Because you're worried about what's happening next to you. You're worried about what's happening next door. You're worried about what's happening across the street, across the country, across the world. That you didn't just take the time to look at yourself and set your own standard, Because if you are in competition with everybody else all the time, I probably say, man, look here. It's always going to be somebody that's better than you. You're always going to be bitter. You're always going to be upset. There's nothing wrong with keeping score, looking next door to see how things are going. But understand, ultimately, the competition is internal, man. The best of the best, the elite of the elite, they compete with themselves. Like when I come in here and I record, I'm gonna personalize. When I come in here and record this podcast, I'm competing with myself. Are there people out here who are taking up market share that I would love? Absolutely, yeah. That goes without saying. Do I want some of that market share? Absolutely. But do I see them as competition? Not really. Do I see them as people who may be stealing, 30 minutes, an hour of somebody else's time from me? Just a little bit. But when it comes to the skill of talking, the skill of entertaining, the skill of making an argument, the ability to tell a story or conduct an interview, I'm not competing with anybody but myself. And when I finish a podcast, when I'm done, I go back and I listen to it. I make my chops. I make my IG vids and all of that stuff. And if I get through it, I go, dang, we ain't got much eye candy this time. I'm not thinking about what so-and-so podcast put out. I'm not thinking about what so-and-so radio show put out. I ain't thinking about what so-and-so blog is doing. I'm like, dang, bro. I'm better than this. And I didn't show it today. So next week when we get back here, we got to pipe up because it's me versus me. That's the competition. There ain't no competition when you're competing against yourself because it's being internally focused. But too many of us are externally focused. Like, oh, well, Travis Hunter is playing against a bunch of bumps. It don't matter if Travis Hunter is dominating. It don't matter if Travis Hunter is working on the skills that it takes to be a great cornerback, right? You can line up OBJ or JBO. If he's nice, he's nice. Think about how many people have came from places where the odds were stacked against them. Think athletically. Jerry Rice, HBCU. Shannon Sharp, HBCU. Tall Jones, HBCU. AB, smaller mid-major college. Greg Jennings, smaller mid-major college. Aaron Rodgers went JUCO before he went to Cal. Yeah. There are diamonds in the rough. When you're good, and they find you. I know people who went to great colleges who have great jobs. I know people who went to some pretty good colleges, got some pretty bad jobs. I know some people who went to terrible colleges and have great jobs. Why? Because good is good is good is good is good, and the cream will rise to the top. If you're good, good. Now, is it harder to be good with when you put your back against the wall? Sure. But this young man has so much publicity already. He's going to have so many eyes on him. The way Coach Prime is working on getting more nationally televised games for Jackson State, the relationship he has with Under Armour, the relationship he has with Tom Brady, oh yeah, who just sponsored his son. It's not the same HBU experience that a random good football player who chooses Fort Valley over University of Georgia is going to have. It's not, because we're talking about Coach Prime. It's prime time in Jackson State. But on a bigger picture, what Mr. Hunter is doing is he's laying the groundwork for the revival of the HBCU. And what I mean by the revival of the HBCU, making it cool for everybody to go to HBCUs. You know, I went to HBCU, Morehouse College, got it on my chest. I loved it. Great experience. I got praise for going to HBCU. Yeah, the same type of schools that Travis Hunter turned down for football, you know, the football factories. Some of those schools might be considered success factories. I got accepted to them, and I said, nah, I'm good. I'm going here with my people. What's the difference? Because I'm not high profile. I'm not a 5-star athlete. I'm a 5-star high school student. You know what I mean? And I chose to go where I went. Why? Because that's where I wanted to be, and I thought that was best for me. But back to Mr. Hunter, not about myself. I'm not going to be a narcissist today. But he's trailblazing, right? And what he's doing is he's gonna make it comfortable for other athletes who thought about going to an HBCU, whether it's their geographic location to the HBCU, whether it's their family ties to the HBCU, whether they go, bruh, I prefer that experience. I want to be around people who are like me, who think like me, but I also want to be able to set myself up to go to the league. Travis is making it easier for those players to make that decision. Now, don't go to just any program. Make sure you're going to a good program. Look at what my guy Hugh Jackson did down in Grambling. He got a top quarterback out of the transfer portal. Why? Because Hugh Jackson is overqualified to be coaching at Grambling. He's coached at 2 NFL teams. Do you understand what I'm saying? The Deion Sanders is overqualified to be coaching at Jackson State, but he's choosing to coach there. Why? Because it's bigger than him. He was coaching there because it's bigger than him. Eddie George has never coached before. This was his first season, but what did he do? He went down to Tennessee State because it's bigger than him. Who did he have on his staff? He had Jeff Fisher on his staff. He had Jeff Fisher's son on the staff. He had a type of staff that you don't normally see at your typical HBCUs. Why? Because he could do it. He had those people in his corner. And when you have those type of coaches, when you have that type of profile, you can bring in better players. And when you bring in those better players, you can get more players going to the league. And once you get more players going to the league, others will come. Alabama's always been a storied program, but Alabama was not a football factory, an NFL factory until Coach Saban got there. Why did an NFL factory? Because Coach Saban got there. Because Coach Saban made that happen. And for those of you who don't think that Deion, Coach Prime, Hugh Jackson, or Eddie George could make the same things happen at their program, I ask you why not? I ask you why. Why can't they do it? They got some money in their pocket. They got some resources. They got some phone numbers. They know the right agents. They got some relationships with owners, GMs. Probably not scouts anymore because of where they are, but you know what I mean? They have the network, but they also have the perspective of someone who's actually lived that life, who's coached that life, to inspire those young men to do something that's bigger than them and still achieve their goals. They can do that. And if you have an issue with that and you look like me, You have an issue with yourself, and you need to work on that. Oh, but let's get to my favorite topic of the day. Let's get to the guy. Let's get to Herb. Herb. The herb. The herb. The herb. Hold on, we're not gonna get to Herb yet. Let me talk about Dabo Swinney real quick. So Dabo Swinney decided to come out and pretty much say that these kids are being manipulated with the money, and all these third parties out here trying to influence where they're going to school. Hey Dabo, shut up. You're just a control freak. Guess and Jimbo Fisher, God bless Jimbo Fisher, came on Paul Feinbaum's show, and he said the difference between NIL and times before is everybody knows we're giving out the money. Jimbo said what everybody already thought. The money's been flying around. Now they got to pay taxes on it. It's wired instead of putting in a duffel bag. You know what I mean? It's wired instead of putting in an old brown paper bag. But see, that's the problem. Because now that everybody can openly spend money, there's people who spending money and taking Dabo's boys. That boy. Taking that boy's boys. Yeah. Dabo, they're taking your boys. And Dabo had a down year. And Dabo, he's hurting. Talking about we need to add the 1 year back to the transfer. Dabo said he stopped coaching, if I remember correctly, if we start paying the players. Hold on, what? You don't want your players to make money? You don't want your players to be able to control their destiny? You don't want a player to say, oh my God, this coach sold me all this bullshit, told me I was going to start, told me I was going to get my number, and then I get here and I don't get my number. I'm fourth on the depth chart. And I would have went to this other school where I could have started, but you told me you was gonna that I would be starting here. So it's okay if Dabo is the manipulator, but if anybody else is getting into Dabo's way of doing it, is wrong. That's what I mean. That's why I told y'all to divorce Dabo a long time ago. I'm not saying he's a bad football coach. I'm just saying it's not a man I look up to. Despite his success, I wouldn't want to send my son to that. I'd want somebody who would want my son to want to be there and not feel like they had to be there because, of what you can offer. Like, I want them to want to come play for you, want to learn how to become a man from you, a better man from you. Like, I'm going to teach my son how to be a man, but there are lessons that obviously can be learned from outside the household. That's why I got this hat on. It's y'all can't really see it because I ain't close to the camera, but it says still N-word, yeah, because that's how they see us. Travis Hunter, still a nigga. I mean, what somebody burned Deion's Florida? I saw somebody burn Deion's Florida State jersey because he took a recruit from Florida State. Stop it. You got some nerve. You feel so entitled. You fans and some of these coaches, y'all feel so entitled to your way of living. Y'all feel so entitled to this control that you don't even care about the other stuff. Like, so what if this player's not coming to the school that you probably didn't go to, that you put little money into? You're just a fan of, oh yeah, go Dog Circle. Oh yeah, go Nose. Oh yeah, go Roll Tide. Yeah. Bruh. Okay. Somebody didn't want to go there. Just like you didn't want to go there. It's okay. It's their life. They get to control their life. Like y'all look at sports as entertainment, and it is entertainment for the viewer. But for those involved, it's a lifestyle. And you over here going crazy over somebody's lifestyle because you don't like their lifestyle choices, when who cares what you like? They live in it. It's just it's entertainment for you. Now, just imagine somebody just going to your job and watching you go to work every day, and every time you fuck up, they got a comment about it. They're gonna go tweet about it. They're gonna go to Facebook about it. They're gonna make a meme about it. They're gonna laugh at you. They're gonna talk about you. They're gonna hit you up and say, "Dang, man, saw your boss chewed you out today. What happened? Dang, man, I see you messed up that report today. Good job." But y'all think it's okay to come after these kids for making decisions that you don't like. Man, y'all are sick. But speaking of sick people, man, let's get the freaking Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer finally got fired, you know. And before I just go all in on Herb, I want to tell you I don't blame Herb. I blame Shad. I blame Shad Khan for developing an obsession for a guy who is a great college coach, who comes off as a terrible human being, and thought that he could bring him to a league that he doesn't watch, he's not connected to, and think he could succeed. Y'all remember when I talked about like the whole owners need to be held to like the same standard as like coaches, GMs, and players, and like have the ability to be cut, have the ability to be suspended, or you operate on an interim basis, like just to increase the competition, to ensure that these owners are actually trying to win. If we implemented my plan, Shad Khan would not be owning an NFL team right now, and the league would be better for it. People tried to make the Jimmy Johnson comparisons. Jimmy Johnson wanted to be an NFL coach. Jimmy Johnson was NFL camps and clinics. Jimmy Johnson was understanding the NFL life. You want to make the comparison to Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll coached in the NFL before he coached at USC, okay? Urban Meyer said that he didn't watch NFL football. Urban Meyer has had controversy damn near everywhere he's been. Urban Meyer gets upset, and when Urban Meyer doesn't get what he wants, he leaves.
Screw you guys, I'm going home. Okay, that's it. Screw you guys, I'm going home. Screw you guys, I'm going home. But
that's Urban Meyer. Urban freaking Cartman. When he gets mad, he just says,
screw you guys, I'm going home.
And it's happened again and again and again. When controversy came to him in Florida, what did he say?
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
When controversy came to him in Ohio State, what did he say?
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
When he was after he got beat by Cincinnati and he didn't fight back with his team, what did he say?
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
It's a trend. That's what he does. And I can only blame Urban so much for being himself when Shad Khan picked him. You picked him. You had the number one pick, so you had to pick up the litter of coaches, and you picked
screw you guys, I'm going home.
Freaking Urban Meyer, Urban Cartman. That's what you did. And you deserve what you got. You deserve the controversy of the Iowa strength coach. Like, Herb, what were you thinking?
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
The old ball coach. And then what else did he do? He brought in Tim Tebow. And what did he tell us?
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
And then what else happens? He goes to Ohio. He stays in Ohio. He gets caught out with the young lady. And then once he sees the young lady and pictures get taken, he's screwing around. And he shouldn't have done it. And what does he do?
Screw you guys, I'm going home.
He goes home. And then what happens next? He calls out his coaches, tell them they're losers. And what does he say?
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
Yeah, right. You better get back to...
And that's who Urban is. He's the old ball coach. He kicks the kicker. You picking on the kicker. Why? But you won't go pick on the linebacker. You won't go pick on Miles Jack. You won't go pick on James Robinson. You won't go pick on Trevor Lawrence. You understand what I'm saying here? You want to go pick on the kicker. You know what I'm saying?
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
Yeah, right. You better get back to school, little boy.
Oh! Get your ass to jail!
And that's what Urban told Lambo. He kicked the kicker. Why? Because he could get away with it, and you must respect his authority. And if you have to ask people to respect your authority, then guess what, man? You have none. And that's why you're fired, because you have no authority. You think that because of what you've done at a lower level, you talked about how you talked with Ian Rappaport about how losing just eats at you. And how you just can't tolerate losing. You can't deal with losing. Hey, man, look, here's the NFL. Everybody loses. Bill Belichick lost 9 games last year. He won 7. He's not a better coach than Bill Belichick. I promise you that. Yeah, in college where you get to get the best players and you get to talk to them any type of way because you can get them to the league, you can get them to millions, and you give them millions, a high hundreds of thousands to come to you. Yeah, sure, you get away with a little bit. But when actually the playing field's leveled and it's about X's and O's, it's about decision making, it's about scheme, it's about adjustments. Look a little bit different when it ain't 5 stars versus 3 stars. It's a bunch of 5 stars out there. And, you know, I could just go on for days and days about Herb because Herb is so damn entitled. Herb is, I mean,
I'm a cop, and you will respect my authority.
that's all he wants you to do is respect his authority. And I didn't think it was going to work when it first happened, because of Herb's style as a college coach. He's super controlling, hands on the program, and I didn't think he'd adjust to the NFL game. I mean, he had the issue with free agency. He bucked on COVID protocols. He thinks he can do what he wants, but you know what? Again, Shad Khan deserves this because he just was so brilliant in his billionaireness. And don't get me wrong, these billionaire owners are brilliant, but there's no competency test that it takes to be an NFL owner. You just got to be cool enough with the right people and have enough money to get into the good old boys club. And I call me crazy, but I think some of these owners, the good owners, love when somebody who they know is going to be a bad owner wants to buy a team. Like, oh yeah, let him in so we can win. And I think Shad Khan falls into that, man, because he really thought that Urban could turn this thing around. Like, just look at his career path, man. He's not touched the league. He's a college guy, and controversy comes everywhere he goes. Do you think your place would be different? Do you think that based on the decisions that he made, it would be different? Yeah, you did, because you hired him, and because you did it, it's gonna work. And that crazy mentality turned you to a billionaire. But that same mentality is the reason why you're a bad owner. And it's the same reason why Urban Meyer is a bad NFL coach, because you believe in yourself so much and you don't believe in others that you can't take a step back and say, you know what? I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm going to let somebody who does fill in for me so that I can get to my end goal. But after Urban, kicked the kicker, after Urban skipped out on the flight, after Urban got called out by his quarterback indirectly, after Urban allegedly got into a verbal altercation with Marvin Jones Jr., after Urban called out his freaking coaching staff, you know what? Shaw just got tired of it. He was like, my God, I love this guy. I love what he's doing down here, but I just got to get rid of him,
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
And speaking of firings, right, man, let me get into my last topic. Let me get into y'all's Uncle Charla. I don't really rock with Holmes. And he was interviewing Kamala Harris, or Vice President Harris, who, I mean, she's our vice president, and we got to respect the office. Come on, let's go to Save Post. And where are we at, Charla? Let me talk about Charlafraud. Charlafraud the Idol God.
President of this country, is it Joe Manchin or Joe Biden, Madam Vice President?
Come on, Charlamagne.
Come
on, it's Joe Biden.
I can't tell sometimes.
No. It's Joe Biden. It's Joe Biden. And don't start talking like a Republican about asking whether or not he's president. It's Joe Biden.
Do you think Joe Manchin is a problem?
It's Joe Biden, and I'm vice president, and my name is Kamala Harris.
So who's the real president?
You know what? I love what Kamala did right there. I love that Vice President Harris stood up to the media, right? Because all that question was painting a narrative, right? It's so Skip Bayless-esque, right? It's like, what can I say to incite chaos and not get true information? Because if he wanted to know if I forgot the senator's name, but if he wanted to know that if that senator was actually the president, right, or was calling the shots, there's a much better way of framing that question. Like, well, rumors are is that Senator Joe so and so is making a lot of decisions. He has a lot of influence. Can you speak to his influence and his influence over the Democratic Party and the president? And what's going on, because some think that he's overstepping his boundaries and trying to run the country. Boom. I bet you get the answer that you actually want if you wanted that question answered. But no, you just want some incendiary nonsense because you are a puppet of the media. You are iHeart's little heart. You're their little black voice. You are their token, because what you did was you truly ingratiated yourself into the culture, right? When you were coming up, and I really think that you were of the culture when you were of the culture. But then once you got too much money, once you got too disconnected, now you just do what they tell you. And you may do it in a way that you like, but come on, man, Charlamagne, you knew what answer that question would get. And just overall, bro, y'all know me. I don't really rock with Charlamagne because, he used to be someone that the average person could relate to. And maybe that's because he was living a more average life and he wasn't filthy rich and he wasn't the voice of black media. Like, I'm sorry, Charlamagne. You used to always say, I'm just a radio guy. And maybe you've expanded your palette. Maybe you're a bit more knowledgeable on things that you weren't once so knowledgeable on, but I do not ever want to hear you talk politics, right? I don't. I've listened to some of your interviews. I've listened to some of the stuff you say, man, and you do it to yourself, honestly. You paint yourself as a less than intelligent human being, but then all of a sudden you want us to take you seriously in those types of conversations. I can't do it. You can't just be the radio guy, but then you're doing CNN hits, right? You can't disparage black people for and here's my issue. My issue is that Charlamagne was slow to the party, but he got there before a lot of us. He was late to the party, but he beat a lot of us. And because he beat us, he goes, dang, bro, why y'all so late? Hey, bro, you know what's wrong with y'all, bro? Y'all tripping. Like, Charlamagne, you sniffed J-Lo's seat after she got up. I thought it was funny in the moment when you did it. But the fact that you were that human being at one point in time, and then you can give your donkey of the day, or you can do a segment or in an interview, you can go after somebody who may not be as advanced as you are in their thinking. It's just outlandish. It's just wild to me. It's crazy to me. Anybody who says that everyone has a price, it's crazy to me, because does everyone have a price? Sure, maybe. I don't know. Chappelle doesn't. I mean, I don't think. I think some of us stand on our morals, stand on our values of, I can't do this. Now, I can't go that far. There are some things I can do, sure, but I can't do that. And even look at his coverage of Kanye. Oh my God, when he got the Kanye interview, Jesus walks. And then when he can't talk to Kanye anymore because Kanye ain't rocking with him, not many nice words to say, right? And I think and I talk about this so often. This is what happens when the voices of the media get too rich. Right? The voice of the media can't get too rich, because if they become disenfranchised from the people who they're talking to, and they become so enamored and so ingrained, so involved with the people that they talk about, you're never going to get the truth, because they're going to protect those that they know and those that they hang out with, to the detriment of those who they're talking to. As a media member, you have to stay grounded. You can't totally just be one of the elites. I get that if you're good enough, you're going to get paid enough to do it. But damn it, man, what are you doing it for? Are you doing it for yourself, or are you doing it for the people? Are you trying to take information that the people don't know and understand and explain it to them? Or are you trying to tell the people what you think and what you feel? Now, there's a balance between the two. But I think that these incendiary personalities, like your Charlamagne the Gods, like your Skip Baylesses, like your Stephen A. Smiths, like your Tucker Carlsons, your Sean Hannitys, these types of people are bad for society, because they'll say anything just to get a click. They'll say anything just to get a check. They'll say anything just to get a blue check. They will say anything just to have their name in your mouth. And if anybody would do anything to get a level of success, I ain't got anything for them,
You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired.
Big baby.